Hey, my name is Sarah and welcome back to another episode of Talking Fast. Alongside me, just like every single week, is Manager Jacob, and the world wants to know, what are you drinking or eating? Or
Well, Sarah, we are at the end of October here. It's kind of like a spooky season, and I'm obviously wearing a jacket for the people who are watching the video version of this on YouTube. If you're not, go check that out. So yeah, you know what? As we said a few episodes ago, I am a fall person. I'm into fall stuff, and I hadn't had one of these in a few years actually. So I felt like I needed to like get my badge back. I had a PSL.
a pumpkin spice latte. Did you see? I got a custom pumpkin spice latte gift card from Starbucks.
Maybe that was like subconsciously what influenced me to do this.
I don't even like pumpkin spice lattes.
Yeah, that after all of the dirt that has come out about you and your disdain for most autumnal things, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I had people replying to me being like, "But you hate pumpkin spice lattes," and I went, "But I don't hate Starbucks. I love Starbucks."
Okay, I read this thing in a newsletter that I subscribe to, and apparently for the last 2 years, this might be welcome news to you. Pumpkin spiced or pumpkin flavored things have actually been trending downwards for the last 2 years.
Really?
Yeah.
It's all my influence.
Year over year, it's like 1.5% down. So we might soon be seeing end of pumpkin spice things.
No, that's because they start. I asked the question to people the other day, being like, when does fall start?
Right.
And someone's like, when pumpkin spice lattes come back. Those things come back in August now.
Yeah,
I got invited to a pumpkin spice latte event in August.
Right. Okay. This is why I held off on. I held off until it was actually cold weather and I could use it to warm up a little bit. Because you don't want to get that when it's 30 degrees outside or anything like that.
And a place that had a bunch of pumpkin spice themed things, which is what I am eating or drinking this week, is Trader Joe's.
Oh, right. You went across the border.
Trader Joe's trip. Wow, that's like a tongue twister with Tara. And we went across, and she's a pro. If you've ever watched her YouTube videos or anything, she always does Trader Joe's vlogs, is what she's known for, one of the many things. And so I felt like I was with a professional, and I went to Trader Joe's, and there is so many specifically pumpkin and squash themed things, like for fall. I guess like butternut, but like also like butternut squash.
Right.
Was like butternut squash mac and cheese.
Do you mess around with butternut squash?
Hells yeah, I mess around with butternut squash. I love butternut squash.
Butternut squash soup?
Yes, my favorite. Huge. So I picked up one of those. I got butternut squash mac and cheese balls.
Oh.
I got butternut squash pasta, like all these things I haven't taste tested yet, but I picked up a bunch of Trader Joe's staples. Have yet to try the soup dumplings, which is like the most popular thing. A lot of people talk about those, right? So apparently I have to soup up my soup dumplings. They're like souped up. Like I have to like put like all this different stuff on them for them to be good, which then I'm like, are they that good if I have bit? I guess. But I've also been told that like the sweet potato gnocchi that I bought, like, but you can't make it the way it's on the bag. You have to make it the other way. I'm like, what?
This is like a whole Trader Joe's secret menu.
There's so many secret menu things to it, but I'm excited to transition into attempting to like fall more by having all my Trader Joe's treats. Okay,
that's good. And I saw actually in a vlog that you posted right on TikTok that you brought a cooler as well. Like you were ready for this trip.
I brought a Yeti cooler.
I wouldn't have thought about that.
Yeah, and thank God I did, because it kept everything like so cold, which was amazing. But yeah, like it was mostly frozen stuff that you're allowed to bring over the border anyways.
Yeah.
But we did get stopped and we had to pay the tax on it.
Oh, okay.
It was a Monday afternoon. The border guy had nobody else there.
You don't want to lose your like Nexus status or like.
Oh God, no. It's worth the $30 I had to pay in taxes on stuff.
What about what you're reading or watching this week?
I know this year's been a tough. Anyone that listens to the podcast probably was like, "Oh, Sarah's going to talk about books all the time." But this year's been like the toughest year for me reading wise. I just have not been as inspired, or I haven't been like finding things that I'm obsessed with. I found my next thing I'm obsessed with.
Really?
The next thing that is about to become my entire personality: Court of Thorns and Roses.
Wait,
ACOTAR.
Is this like the three of them?
There's like 5 of them. Maybe there's 3. Maybe there's 5. Red. I have it in my bag right over there because I was reading on my Kobo in the car here because I can't put it down. I started it yesterday when I was like flying back from or the night before.
Yeah.
And then I read 300 pages on the plane, and I'm literally like in the car, like getting my Uber home, reading it. And then like today I read it on my lunch break. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with it. It's fairies, and it's like fantasy. I've never read fantasy before, and I'm like hooked. I thought everyone was just joking.
Haley, I think, has read these. There's a whole series. She says that they get a little spicy sometimes
they
too.
do.
She's read me some passages, and I was like, whoa.
And they do get spicy, but it's like I don't know what drug they put in the book. Like I don't know if I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid of it, but it is insane.
So wait, are you on the first one? Is that
I'm on the first one. And this is the one everyone says isn't even the best one. They're like, Sarah, you have to, they're like, don't DNF it until you get through book 2. I'm like, DNF it? This is my favorite book I've read this year so far.
Like, do not finish? Didn't finish or whatever?
You DNF books all the time. You should know what DNF means.
I'm DNF in a marathon. So.
Yeah. Oh, no. You didn't start the marathon, so that doesn't count.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a DNF. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, ACOTAR. Fully in it. I'm fully expecting.
This is big. This is also exciting that you're out of your slump.
I might go home tonight and finish the damn book and just like stay up till 1 or 2 in the morning and finish it.
Okay.
That's
are you jazzed up then about like being out of the slump as well?
Yeah, I'm so excited.
With like 4 or 5 books ahead of you?
To be it's a series. That's why I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be reading again, which makes you sound so nerdy. Anyways, what are you watching or reading?
Well, I'm going to continue off of spooky vibes. I had no idea that this was even a thing. Did you know that Paul Rudd 2 years ago was in a new Ghostbusters movie?
No.
Yeah, there was a new Ghostbusters movie that came out in 2021, and Paul Rudd's in it. And there's these kids, and Paul Rudd's a teacher. And
I mean, I buy into anything with Paul Rudd, but
Ghostbusters stuff happens.
Was it good?
Yeah, you know what? It was pretty funny. It wasn't as good as the old original Ghostbusters movies, but I did enjoy it. And I think that there's a new one actually being produced, maybe to come out next year as well.
Wow. Have you ever been to the Ghostbusters fire station in New York in Tribeca?
It's
right down the street from Taylor Swift's apartment.
Oh, is it really? So have you visited it?
Yeah, obviously.
Is there a Ghostbusters like logo on it?
Yeah,
I checked it out on Street View and it looked like there was.
It's on the ground and they've got like a thing on the top of it as well.
Okay.
But yeah, you should go when
you're
in New York.
I mean, like Halloween's coming up, so if anyone's looking for a ghost or a spooky movie, I would say that that's kind of a fun one to watch too.
Okay, so what are you listening to? Are you getting into fall vibes? Like, what's the vibe right now?
This is one that's kind of out of left field.
Not surprising.
It's
with
not
your music
music.
taste.
Yeah, I'm going with a podcast this week. I've been listening to a lot of the podcast Science Versus, which is like a really cool deep dive into like one specific topic, episode by episode, and they kind of not debunking isn't the right word, but they say like. For example, the most recent one that I listened to was on self-care. So it was like science versus self-care. Okay. And it's like, let's dive into cold plunges. Let's dive into gratitude journaling. And let's dive into one other topic that's covered into self-care that I can't remember right now.
And they do it from like a scientific lens?
Yeah. So they like just review a ton of different peer-reviewed articles.
That's great. So you don't have to.
Exactly. And have on a ton of different experts. But if you want to, they also have footnotes with all the references for the entire episode that they talk about that you can go and dive into a little bit more deeply if you want to. Cool. So I think like for that one, sometimes they'll have like between like 50 and like 75 references. So if you want to get deep into a subject and do the research yourself, you can. But
should we really solve our footnotes for all of our our research we do for this podcast?
For sure. It'll all just be TikToks that we're watching.
Exactly.
But they do a really good job and it's a super entertaining podcast. So if anyone's into that kind of stuff, check it out for sure. What about you? What are you listening to?
I'm listening to Zach Bryan.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I'm really late to the game on this one. He's like country folk, so realistically, it's like a country singer merged with Noah Kahan. I should like have been bought into it a lot earlier. But yeah, I'm fully on the Zach Bryan train now because he came out with a song with my name in it. It's called Sarah's Place with Noah Kahan.
Oh, okay.
It's Zach Bryan featuring Noah Kahan, Sarah's Place. And I was listening at my cottage the whole week because it's my place. And so I was just like listening to it. Anyways, and he has a song with Casey Musgraves.
I was going to say, he has a lot of other features.
His new album's really good. And I bought concert tickets. I bought tickets to his concert in March.
This was one of the other tours that like sold out immediately and the ticket prices were insane as well.
They were insane. Right? I actually don't normally buy tickets like the 300s. Like I'm annoying like that. I'll just try and go closer. But I bought tickets in the 300s because I was like, I'm not paying $400 to see. At the time, I hadn't even listened to him a lot. I'm like, I'm not paying $400 to see this guy. But I bought like just $100 tickets.
But I also feel like for a show like that, you're kind of there for him and his music and whatnot, which is probably going to be good anywhere in the.
Everyone says he's as loud as like the Noah Kahan concert. Like Noah Kahan was so loud because it's just like it's
people singing along. You mean?
Yeah, because it's not the type of music that you dance to, right? So you use your energy to like just scream the lyrics along.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
So that's the vibe. So I think it'll be a really good show, and I'm excited for it. But that's in March.
Amazing. What about our new ones here? We're getting back into the new questions. Somewhere you went.
I didn't see my sweater that says East Coast, which I did not buy on the East Coast. I got this from Oakenfort. I was out east on the weekend. I was there for 5 days.
At your cottage?
Yeah, at my cottage. If you didn't know, I have a cottage in Nova Scotia. And it was only my third time out there this year, but I went there like the 3 times I went were really like impactful times that I went this year. So I had my friends there in the summertime, but I was there and we closed up the cottage for the winter and planned out all the stuff we're going to do next year. Finally knocked down the massive wall that's in there so we can make some new rooms and like redo the kitchen and stuff. So there was like some plans happening, but I was at my cottage,
and I saw that shout out Dean put together like a heck of a deck up there.
The deck he's told everyone about the deck. All my friends like were
Dean,
replying.
It's looking good.
The deck is huge. Like we ate Thanksgiving dinner out there. My sister and I had a cornhole competition on the deck. Like it's massive. And it does like really make the cottage feel bigger too, because you just have all that extra space, especially because now it faces the ocean. Our deck was like wrapped around the back part of the cottage, which made no sense to me. Why would it not be wrapped around the part that faces the water? But
I think good relaxing time out there.
Yeah, it was really nice. I got out of my reading slump out there, so nice. I think that's part of the reason why. What about you? Where have you been?
So I went on. This gets back into the fall vibes. I went on a hike the other day.
Oh, do you wear like hiking shoes? Like, are you that intense?
Okay, actually, it's so funny. Like, I don't think there's a photo that was publicly up there, but I went with like siblings and partners kind of thing. And the outfits were wild. I was not wearing a hiking outfit. I maybe need to invest in some stuff to like tone down the vibe, but I was wearing like these big like work boots essentially, and a pink shirt and like short Lululemon shorts and a backwards hat. And I looked a little too wild. But I was out in Alton, Ontario, a little small town, Ontario. Yeah, super
like Alton.
Yeah, super cute little town. And you're kind of like just outside of like Caledon-ish. Okay. And yeah, it was a nice hike. Got out there with Brooklyn, my dog, and
does she like hiking?
She loves it.
Does she listen or does she run away? Do you have to worry about bears in Ontario? I have so many questions. I don't hike, so I'm like, I have no idea.
Not really bears. Not in this part of Ontario.
I didn't see any bears at the cottage. I did see a lynx.
Oh wow, that's almost scarier.
No, lynx aren't big. I thought they were big.
Don't they?
Maybe they get big. No, they're like a big cat.
Yeah, I know.
But like not like a big cat. They're like a cat, but like the size of a dog.
The full whiskers.
Yeah,
and then I also went to, this is I think in Erin, Ontario, close to Erin, Ontario, Good Lot Brewery. It's like a really cool vibe, great beer, but then also they have like a 9-hole disc golf course. They have like a pop-up place for really good food and like a little patio.
Are they dog friendly?
Dog friendly. So Brooklyn was out there hanging on the picnic table.
You should make the Brooklyn brewery tour where you can point out all the dog friendly breweries.
What a good idea.
Brought Brooklyn to.
What a good idea.
And finally, what's something you did?
Something I did this week. This is a sad time for me because this will actually come out after it didn't happen, but I'm not running my half marathon in Toronto or the marathon in New York City anymore.
No, this comes out before the New York City Marathon, but yeah.
Right, but it'll be after Toronto, which I was also signed up for.
For the half, right?
Yeah, so something I did this week was I'm in physiotherapy right now for my ankle because I rolled my ankle. And
how'd you roll your ankle, Jacob?
Playing soccer and
playing rec league soccer.
It was a stupid injury, and I thought it was only going to keep me out for like a week or something like that. But because I've rolled that ankle a couple of times, it wasn't a full tear of one of the ligaments, but it was a near full tear. So it's been a slow process.
But are you still gonna go to New York?
Yeah, still gonna go to New York. Still gonna watch the marathon and probably have a few more drinks at dinner the night before.
Get inspired. You can meet up with us. We're going out for Haley's birthday.
Which day?
I don't know. All the days. We're there for 3 nights.
We're like making plans on the podcast right now. Anyone else want to go?
No, but no, I am really sad that you're not running the half or the full. It's going to be the New York City. I had good sign options for you for the marathon, but did you just defer till next year?
I deferred for New York City, yes, and then I sold my bib to someone else for Toronto.
Because Toronto bibs are going for an insane amount of money right now.
I just sold it for less than the cost that I paid for it.
What?
I'm not trying to gouge someone for the marathon.
You should have. You should have.
Not a chance. What about you? Something you did this week?
I've been prepping for my 1989 Taylor's version party.
Oh, huge.
Yeah, so I'm hosting a party for like 20 to 30 people. I don't really know how many people I invited. I keep saying 20 to 30. I hope that's how many people are actually on the list. And it's to celebrate 1989 Taylor's version. I felt like this is the album to do it because 1, I love hosting parties. 2, I didn't want to throw a Halloween party.
Yeah.
And 3, I wanted some like good feminine energy. And that album is all like that era of her life when she was just with her girlfriends at her Rhode Island house. So we're going to paint wine glasses. I'm getting a massive charcuterie board and like we're going to have custom cocktails and then all this decor and just like listening to the album and like girly fun, making friendship bracelet energy. And I think it's going to be a good time.
Are there any ideas about what the like additional tracks are going to be?
Well, one of them's called Slut, which I'm really excited for. Yeah. There's no, none of them say they're featuring anyone, but she always has surprises up her sleeve. So I wouldn't be surprised.
That's my favorite album.
1989?
Yeah.
So good. I've been re-listening to it, like prepping for the party and stuff too.
It came out right before I went to New York once, and I was like, this is
meant to be. I listen to Welcome to New York every single time I fly there.
You have to. You have to.
So we've started off season 2 and we're changing some things up. We've told you guys already that there's a few changes that are happening. The first one obviously being the longer first opening segment. But the other thing is that we're not actually going to do a weekly voicemail. Almost called it mailbag, and we've been doing this for like 32 episodes now. Now we're going to move to a monthly voicemail format, which I think is fun because then we have like the opportunity to like dive into a month's worth of questions.
Yeah, throw all the best questions at us and
exactly
put it all in one.
This is a completely voicemail dedicated episode. As a reminder, if you have a question for us or you want us to react to something or give you some advice, you can email us at talkingfastshow@gmail.com, or you can message us on Instagram at talkingfastshow. You also DM each of us, whatever way, carrier pigeon, whatever way you want to get a message to us, we will try to talk about it here on the show. Are you ready for our first ever full voicemail episode?
I'm ready, Sarah. What is the first question?
The first one is, how do you handle burnout both socially and from work?
This is a good one.
Yeah, I feel like we've like touched on this, like, and again, the nicer part about
go ahead.
I was gonna say the nice thing about a full voicemail episode, I feel like we can like dive into everything a little bit more because instead of just squeezing it into 15 minutes at the end of the episode. But I feel like we've touched on this, but never really dove into it.
Yeah. Do you experience burnout first and foremost?
I like how you asked that as if I don't text you when I'm feeling burnt out and having a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
For the audience, yes, I do, believe it or not, because I get a lot of questions based around this and like, how do I keep up a busy lifestyle and this and that? I do experience burnout, but I'm really good at knowing when I'm about, because burnout is like the feeling, in my opinion, of like the final straw. Like burnout's like the rock bottom of it. It's when you're like, you don't want to do anything. You're like, I'm done with it all. I'm really good at stopping myself before I get to that point now. I don't think I used to be. I think I'm better.
I'm not judging you. I'm judging for myself. I'm just like, I don't think I am a lot of the time.
Yeah. I think I used to be someone that would burn myself out and like commit to too many things and try to be everything for everyone. And I'm a lot better now.
So for burnout, what do you do then to get back on track then?
Well, I text Jacob and say, I don't want to do any of these things and I don't want to go to any of these events. And he goes, I got you. And then tells people that I can't go. No, I'll stop going to things that I think will drain me a bit. So like, that's why I don't go to as many like events or any of that stuff anymore. I'm really not afraid to like tell my friends, like if I can't see them because I'm feeling this way. And that's only like, that's like a final straw. Like I'll probably usually try to see my friends if I can. But if I feel like I really need a night at home, or I'll try to like always schedule a night into my calendar that like allows me that time when I'm starting to feel overwhelmed.
Are you the same? Like for me, I need kind of, if I get to the burnout point, I need a complete reset. It's not so much that like, oh, I'm burnt out with kind of work related things. Let me go and like maybe like just socialize more, see some friends and whatnot. I'm like, I need to
decompress,
totally decompress, not see anyone, clear my schedule and do nothing for like a solid 4 to 5 days. And then I'm
for
back.
That long. Okay.
Yeah. And it's not like I'm not going to be working in that period or something like that, but it's like, let me just like, I needed that after like traveling Europe for 3 weeks, even though that was such a good experience. It's like, I need downtime after like getting exposed to so much and traveling so much and just being like all good stuff, but like still stressful stuff, right?
100%. And well, you're not home, you're not in your routine. So where you take those 4 or 5 days all at once, I think what I do is I just take those and spread those out throughout a month now. Right. So I think it's more so like 1 day a week. I never used to be a homebody. I used to like have plans every night of the week. I really now like value like at least one night a week where I don't have to like do anything but be in my apartment and like get to choose how I want to spend it. And that doesn't mean I'm necessarily like sitting in bed just reading or like watching TV. That's not what I'm saying about doing nothing. It's just I have that one night a week that allows myself the option to do whatever I want. So if I want to go to the mall and I want to like browse around, I can do that. If I want to sit in bed and read, I can do that. If I want to make a last minute plan to go see someone or go on a walk, it allows me the space to have one night that I can just choose whatever I want to do.
Yeah. And I think if you're experiencing burnout, like this is maybe also one other tip that I would have is not have that one day that you set aside for yourself. Like, don't label that as it's a good day for me to catch up on other stuff. Like, let me not see my friends or like say no to a work engagement so I can like get ahead on stuff that I'm maybe feeling behind on. It's like, don't do any of that at all. A catch-up day is so different than a rest day, and like one that's actually going to get you back on track.
Yeah, that's true. But I think it's just knowing yourself is like the key to not burning out. But I think everyone burns out at certain points or with certain areas of their life, whether it is friendships or whether it is work. And also, I'm not afraid to like at my day job, I'm like very open and honest when it's like with my business manager or with my manager, and just saying like, hey, I'm just like not in it today. Like, and I'm really like not afraid to say that, or say, hey, like I need to take or we have mental health days, or if we need to take, I took the last 2 days off of last week off just because like I was kind of feeling burnt out, and I was like, hey, I don't need to stress out and like try to find out a way to work from home when I'm away at my cottage. I can just like dedicate that time to chilling, and it really worked because I feel a lot 100%. Better now.
Jump into question 2 for voicemail. And this is actually a good one to tag on to what we were just talking about as well, I think. How do you balance social media / work and making time for friends and family? Do you use any organizational tools to manage all areas of your life?
I could use them better. I have a Google Calendar that I would like to imagine if I lived and died by, but I really don't. I use it mostly for like big events and stuff. The podcast and stuff I organize based off of that, but I'm not like the best. I'm not the most like organized person. That's why Jacob's here. No, I'm not. I'm more of a left brain. I'm just so much more of a creative than I ever am someone that like is really good at like scheduling and all that. I can do it. I just like, it's like I don't want to. Like, it's almost like I imagine in my brain that I can just remember everything, which obviously no human can. But I just like in my brain, like look at my calendar the week before and go, oh, I know I have this, and I won't even double check days. But then my life got too busy that I had to start actually putting it into a calendar.
That like night before or week before, like the Sunday night, check on what's going to happen leading up to it, and then prioritize stuff in my mind. That's what I do. Yeah.
So that's what I've started to do a lot more now, just so I can like, especially when it's the mix of like my full-time job and then like filming branded content and stuff like that as well. But how do I sorry, no, you go.
I was also going to say, it's also because for me as someone who's self-employed or anyone who's like might be freelancing or kind of on contract based work and that kind of thing. The other thing that I'll say is knowing, and this kind of goes back to the other question in terms of balance and avoiding burnout, is kind of knowing when like the waves are good, you want to like get your surfboard out and then, maybe it's going to take a little bit more effort and time or your time in your schedule. But then when like things are chill, like you're saying, know when you don't have a ton of responsibilities to like say to the people that are maybe asking you to do things, hey, I need a day to kind of chill.
And that's, I think also like going off of that, I think the way that I actually manage to like keep everything afloat in my life between like work, relationships, personal life, whatever, is because when I'm productive, I'm productive. Like I'm not somebody that's, so when everyone says you're so busy, I'm not like so busy every single day. What I do is like, I'm really a time blocker and I'll batch things. Like if I'm like, so today wasn't a day I was feeling, this morning I felt super productive. So I like got a ton of stuff done. So then this afternoon when I was like, I hit a lull and I was like not really feeling it, I didn't have to like stress about it because I'd already like put all my productivity into the time when I was feeling it. So whenever I feel productive, I just really take advantage of it. Like I really like, if I'm in that type of mood, then I'll just do like everything on my to-do list. And then I'll allow myself to chill when I need to chill. For
sure. And then the other thing too is like take action when you think you are starting to feel nervous about something.
Yeah.
Like if you're feeling disorganized, don't bite it off all at once, but like do something for 5 minutes that's going to help move you in the right direction.
I'm really bad at being avoidant on email sometimes. Like if there's an email in my inbox that I know is going to call, like I need action on it.
Yeah.
I'll leave it there on unread for a while and then I have to come back to it. And then sometimes I'll open it, I'll be like, oh my God, this is the easiest thing. It took me 2 seconds. I stressed about it in the back of my head for no reason. Do you do that?
I have a star system for email. Everything gets read immediately as soon as it comes in, and then a star system like
on
actually
importance?
Flagging it on importance of when it needs to be responded
I'm really
to.
bad. So what I do is I leave everything on unread thinking I'll go back and read it, and I never remember to go back and read it.
Yeah, and then you just have that massive notification number on your phone, which I can't deal with.
I have like 18,000 on my work
really?
email, except for I just watched a YouTube hack, not YouTube. I just saw a TikTok hack on how to get rid of them all. So I'm gonna go do that at work tomorrow.
Damn.
But
okay.
I never
have one on
okay, but my day job,
different things for different people.
Also, my day job.
You're probably CC'd on a bunch of garbage.
Exactly. I'm CC'd on all this distribution stuff in the whole building that I don't need to know. Yeah. And then once you get so far behind, now what's the point? Yeah. But my regular email probably is a couple hundred still, but some of those are receipts that I'm just saving. I don't know. But to answer the question, I think when you're trying to balance any busy part of your life or like all the things in your life, it's just about prioritizing. We've talked on this podcast about friendship tiers. We've talked about how you prioritize your time and like just being good with time management. I think I just at a young age learned how to be good with time management and like learn what things are the priority. Like if something's priority and Jacob's like, you got to get this done for tomorrow, like I'll get it done. Like I'll never not like meet those deadlines if I am told I have to. So it's just
well on my side of things, just in like our working relationship as well. It's like there's constantly, and this is not just you, it's like every client that I have, but there's a long list of importance that gets sent to you. Yeah. So most of the time I'll have a list of things on the go that's like, Sarah will get this in 3 days, Sarah will get this in like 2 days, or this is like a today thing for Sarah.
that's often what happens.
I'm like the Hoover Dam of emails.
And I only know it's like really urgent when I get a text from Jacob going like, you really got to get this done. And then I'll do it in like 2 minutes. I'll be like, okay, sorry. But yeah, I think it's just learning with time management and how you prioritize things is how you, I don't know. There's no perfect art to it. Like I think if you ask my friends or family or other things, there's like areas I lack in.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you're outwardly perfect. Like I think there's always ways to be better. And as Jacob would probably say, there's probably ways for me to be better in my working life too. So we've always said to our audience, we really want to give advice on like things in their life. And I feel like this one's actually like the first time it's like a big piece of advice someone's asked us for.
Dropping some tea here?
Dropping some tea a little bit. So we just want to reach out to us and say, my brother's girlfriend just moved into our house with us and we don't get along. And then it was ... the eye emoji. So I'm assuming she's asking, what do I do?
We love to hear the tea.
I know. I'm just more so I'm so flattered that like someone wants to come to us to ask about this.
Was there any other context or like that's what we have to go off of?
No, because
here?
we're going. So this is my issue. My only issue with advice is I want to then ask.
I'm like, how old are you? Are you able to kind of move out? Are you
the younger sibling? And is it your older brother?
How many people are in the house? Are there a lot of people? Do you have to share like close bedrooms?
When you say you don't get along, are we talking like you're fighting all the time? So there's layers to it, but we're just gonna have to go off of the very little information that we have.
There's definitely advice that we can disperse here.
So why don't you pass some wisdom first? What would you say?
Well, first and foremost, I'm a big supporter of like take your personal space and take it seriously. So I empathize with you in this situation that like that is not a fun place to be in, and you're totally fine to be like wanting a solution out of this as opposed to just like dealing with it.
Well, and I think especially like coming into your space in your home is like that's a really personal thing, right? Like it's
100%. You have your own routines, you have your own like the interpersonal relationships in a family situation is already huge.
So complicated. And then if you're bringing another person into it who you already know you don't get along with,
you could like them and that could be a nightmare situation for them to
it's like
in.
when somebody you could become roommates with someone and then you realize that they're like there's like fundamental things you don't get along with.
For sure. So if you don't like them, that's a tough situation to be going into. But I would say like first and foremost, if you can, I would say leave. I would say leave. Find a way to leave.
Okay, now, what if this person is like 16 years old?
Well, 100%. And that's where I say the caveat is like that's probably doesn't sound like that's a solution. Otherwise, maybe you would have done it. But I think that like drawing boundaries in any relationship is huge. So like not just letting stuff fester is probably the best option here, is to like have a conversation, maybe with the brother first, because that's like a closer relationship maybe. And maybe an easier way to kind of go about like discussing that and finding more information. Maybe you don't have the information, right? Like, is this going to be a long-term thing, or is this like just for a months, week or a month or something like that? Because hopefully it's a temporary thing. And that would be my other thing. It's just like remembering that this is temporary. Either one way you're going to like move away from this space or they're going to leave one way or another.
So this is Jacob's really like nice. Like that's good advice. Like you're coming from a very like
you
thoughtful
like
spot.
slap that person.
So where mine comes from is growing up with sisters. And like you say, you don't get along. Yeah. Like I say there was a solid 6 years with my sisters and I did not like each other. We like actively like did not get along.
Right.
And so when it comes to like your personal, I literally moved to the basement. Like I put 2 floors between us because like we didn't get along.
Okay. Yeah. Fine. Define your personal space.
So I think define your personal space. You literally like there was moments in time where I would not speak to my sisters for months at a time. Like we just would all live in the same home and like just like avoid each other essentially. Just
what's the age difference? Not the
only just shy of 2 years.
2 years difference.
Yeah. So so if it's your home and it's your like safe haven and you don't need to interact with her if you don't like her and if you don't get along.
Right. I agree with that for sure.
Then that also causes you less stress. Like if you just go into it and look, if you have to have a conversation with your brother about it, then have a conversation just like, look, we don't get along, so I'm just gonna like do what I can to like protect my peace by like not speaking to her.
Yeah.
And it's not out of a spiteful way. It's not out of a way of like,
yeah, it's not your responsibility to overreach and like become best friends with this person.
It's not. And so it's just, if you're doing it out of a place of like, look, I'm actually just trying to make sure that we can both live here in peace and not cause any issues, then just like ignore and just like carry on with your life. And as long as you've had those conversations, you're saying that you're not doing it from a spiteful place, then I think you're fine.
Yeah. I mean, lawyers would tell me not to say this, but like I would say also maybe like set some booby traps or something. Like don't let the pranks be traced back to you, but get that going perhaps. Okay, Sarah, next voicemail question. And this is a good one. Do you have any advice on making meaningful friendships to avoid loneliness?
I like the fact that this person asked about meaningful, because I think there is a difference between like friendships and meaningful friendships.
For sure.
I think what they're looking for is someone that's more of like a confidant, like someone that's like a deeper rooted friendship. Yeah. And I think the way that happens is literally just being like such an open and honest version of yourself.
That's what I said too. In my notes, I was just like, because I was thinking about this one.
Yeah.
Like, it is a good question. And it's something that I think most people want, especially when you're an adult and you're like, okay, how do I make new friends? You don't just want to have the friends that you're going out to the bar with or something like that, right? You want to have someone who's maybe going to end up in your wedding party.
And those people can be the same people. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, for sure.
So as an example, like, I don't know, I'll actually use like our last guest. I'll use Tara as a great example because Tara and I hadn't even met a year ago. And now she's one of my closest friends.
Right.
And one of my most meaningful friendships. And I think a lot of that came from the fact that from the first time we hung out, not even just one-on-one, we were with a group, we were like having real conversations about like real things we were dealing with. And the second time we hung out, we were having like further, like actually just like deep conversations. Like we weren't.
How do you get into those conversations?
I kind of just
like, are you just like an open book with new people?
Yeah. And I've talked about this with my therapist before, because I don't know what it is about with new people. I just like feel so much more like open and willing to like, share. Which is like weird. Maybe it's because like I think all this surface level stuff about me you can find on the internet. So like if I'm actually talking to you and meeting you in person and we're having like a meaningful conversation and I'm like want you to get to know me, I'm more open. Because
but are you nervous about that? Because like for me personally, and I think a lot of people as well, it's like it's like a very nerve-wracking thing to be super vulnerable with someone new, especially if you're the person who kind of has to take that first step in a friendship where it's like someone says like an offside comment and you're like, oh, like I'm actually dealing with something kind of like that.
Yeah, but maybe that's why I like do it so early, so that it's like all my cards are on the table. And it's like all of my newest friendships. I've talked about this with like my therapist a lot. Like I'm actually a more authentic version of myself with my newer friendships because one, they're getting to know the Sarah of today. Like there's no preconceived notions. There's no like, this is how she was when she was 19 or like when we met, you know, like sometimes you get stuck in the age of like.
It's almost easier doing that with new people then, I guess. 100%. I agree with that.
But I don't know. I've just like, maybe it's just in the past year, it's been a different approach for me, but I'm just not afraid to be the person to like dive in deeper a little bit now. And I have seen a way more payoff with having meaningful friendships than just a bunch of like fleeting, like, oh, let's go grab drinks and you have nothing to talk about. Like,
well, yeah, that's the other side of like vulnerability and then kind of nerves that surround it, is that you do have the payoff of like feeling closer to someone because of that. And then most of the time they'll open up to you as well, which is how you grow a meaningful relationship.
But
right? If
you want to grow a meaningful relationship, you have to start with like, how are you actually going to meet friends and how are you going to meet new people?
Yeah.
I am not, and I'm an extrovert. So like if this person's an introvert, like I can't like speak to that. Maybe that's different. But like as someone that's an extrovert and I'm a people person, I'm never afraid to be the one to reach out. And the thing is, most people want to get reached out to. Like, who do you think is going to like, if you go, hey, like, would you like, if it's a coworker, maybe coworker that you get along really well at work and you're like, oh, I'd like to see if this becomes like a non-work friendship. Like I always joke with my friend Libby, like we became non-work friends. Like the non-work friends are the ones that you get from one job and you take on for the rest of your life. Yeah. Whereas there's a difference between that and work friends, but maybe you're like, oh, I get along with this person. I'd love to like grab a drink with them or coffee or dinner or whatever. Like almost everyone wants to feel, I mean, by almost like everyone wants to feel like loved and appreciated and like valued. So like if you're reaching out to somebody that you already have a good rapport with and you go, hey, like, would you like to grab like dinner? I want to check out this new restaurant. Like, would you want to go after work? Like, they'd have to be such an asshole to go.
For sure. But I think that's where the line is drawn for a lot of people, though, is like, I find this too, is that a lot of people, those qualities that you're saying, like love and appreciation and like passion, that kind of stuff, those are often qualities that people reserve for like a romantic relationship. Like you want your partner to kind of just express that with them. But like those are qualities that you get in a friendship. Have in a friendship for sure. And that's where you get meaningful friendships as well, where you can share that with other people. Yeah.
And not just reserve that for romantic relationships. But if you're looking for like tangible things, like what could I take today from this podcast as a way to actually like meet new people? There's literally groups in Toronto that are made for this. There's Facebook groups that are, it's like, there's like single women specifically, or like not just single women, but like women looking to make friendships. And if they're all going to the same event, they meet up, those types of things. Like there's like organized events, like, I mean, like Taylor Swift dance parties, like those things like that are like-minded individuals.
Yeah. Just common interests. And,
exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Or like I went to a live podcast in Chicago with my friend and we got seated at a table with two people that I'm still like, I interact with on Instagram. Or so like if I went to Chicago again, like I'd go grab a drink with them to this day. Like you put yourself in those situations with like-minded people, right? If you're like in those similar situations. Rec sports is always a thing as well. So I think like just putting yourself out there is, if you want to find meaningful friendships and not just like fleeting ones, you do have to be the one to put yourself out there, and it's a mutual like,
and it will be reciprocated. And if it's not, it's like, that's not the meaningful relationship that you're looking for.
Exactly. Like you just have to put yourself out there. Like I can't preach that enough if you want a meaningful relationship.
And to go back to the question as well, to avoid loneliness, because that's something that a lot of people feel. It's like, it's an easy ticket to avoid loneliness if you are putting yourself out there sometimes in these like common interest places.
And like, again, these people don't know you before. If you're like, I'm not the person that does that. Well, now you are. Just be that person.
Yeah. Like be the guy like suits, Richie, who just wears suits. You can just like.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking.
The bear?
Oh, on the bear.
What did I say?
You said on suits.
Did I say? Oh no. Okay. I messed it up. I meant his suit thing.
You meant Richie?
Did I say that?
Yeah, I thought that's
on
what
suits. Be Harvey Specter.
I was so confused. I mean, lying about a legal degree.
We can cut that line.
Yeah, that's fine. Our next voicemail question is, what goals so far have you felt like you've completed of your 2023 goals? Because we're sitting at the end of October. There's a couple months left. So this is a good like check-in, because then you still have time to, complete some more. So what are some goals that you've completed this year?
I think we talked several episodes ago, like we kind of touched in on this of like goals we had for the year. And now it's like looking at it from the perspective of what we've completed. And I remember back when we were talking about that in the previous episode,
I don't remember what I said.
The only one that I had left to do, I was like, yeah, it's going to be running the New York City Marathon, which like we said earlier is kind of not in the cards right now. But what I've learned, the learning that I'm taking from this now is how it's okay to, and then also how important it is sometimes to be able to, in your mind, revise your goals. So now my goal is to get my body healthy again. So I started physiotherapy, and now it's like, okay, let's get back to the baseline of my physical health by the end of the year. And that's the new goal. So we moved the goalposts quite significantly.
Yeah, but you also like, one of your goals earlier in the year was to beat your previous marathon time. And you did do that earlier this year. That wasn't the same year. So this was going to be your second marathon this year.
Yeah.
Which is already an insane feat that you even wanted to run to in a lifetime, let alone in the same 6 months period.
Yeah. So I did beat the time. And like I said earlier, it'll be deferred until next year. So like it's still a goal, and we're moving things along.
Maybe by then we'll bring a bus of talking fast.
Yeah, we'll do it
listeners, live. And we'll all commentate. You'll have a microphone on.
Cycle along. We'll do a live podcast.
Maybe I'll run it with them. Oh God, no! Yeah. I'm not saying that. But
what about you for 2023 goals?
Actually, someone on TikTok. This is always crazy to me when people like remember things that I've said. Apparently I'd put out there, like, I actually normally make a video at the beginning of the year with my goals for that year. So one of my 2023 goals was to live a more active, healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
And not for the purpose of like losing weight or trying to look a certain way or any of that. Because I think early in the year I was really caught up in like that and was struggling with body dysmorphia and stuff. But my goal switched to being like, no, I just want to live an active lifestyle and just want to work out just to work out and like feel stronger and better and see like changes in like my like physical health.
Yeah.
And that's like been and that's been like, and honestly running did that for me. When I like started in May, I just went on 2 runs, ran 3 kilometers and was like, I need a goal to work towards. And that's why I signed up for the half. By the time this comes out, I will have finished it or will have died on the side of the course. And we don't know which one's going to happen. But that's been something that's been like, I now run just because I want to. Crazy. It's a crazy concept huge. To me. And like just because I feel like my body craves it, or like now I've been doing like F45, and not because I'm like trying to like get a certain physique or a summer body, or like I'm going on a trip and I need to like truly I'm just like working out because after it like I have the hit of endorphins and I feel really good about it. Yeah. And then now like each week I do a HIIT class, like I can feel, oh my God, maybe next week I'll do a push-up like not on my knees, or like they're just like little things like that. And it's for the purpose of myself and personal fulfillment and goals, and not for vanity, which is, I don't think I've done that since I was like in high school. So
that's amazing. And I feel like if that resonates with anyone, which I feel like it would, that is like, I feel like we also talked about that with Cassie Day, the episode of Cassie Day, where she was talking about this similar things about how a lot of people kind of get into it for aesthetic goals.
Yeah.
Whereas, getting into it for the lifestyle and feeling good in it.
And that's what I want to, when I changed the mentality of like, no, I want to be like the person. It was like when I started reading a lot, I was like, I want to be the person that reads and always is a good book recommendation. Now I want to be the person that runs and like can talk to you about like how like good it is for your mental health, and how like you can just feel so much better if you just go for a run, and some days even if it's a bad run, it's still like a run is still a run.
Do you have any imposter syndrome around, like we were just kind of talking about it in kind of just deciding that you can be the type of person to do something when you start something like that?
I mean, yes and no. I think a benefit I have is I just tell the entire internet I'm doing something, and then that holds me accountable.
Right.
But it's true. And like, I don't care if it annoyed people, but I did it. And like, that's why everyone knows I'm running this half marathon, and I don't shut up about it, because if I don't, like, I'm doing it for myself, and like I go out for those like 10Ks, 15s, like whatever for myself, and you have to do it yourself. But there's like that little thing in the back of me that's like, okay, well, like you said you'd do it, now like, oh, like pony up, do it. Like that's like
it's good to continue the habit to like
but now when I'm doing like do I have to go to a like 7 a.m. 7:45 a.m. F45 class for like the internet? No, I do it for myself. So like I just kind of decided, and you just have to do it once. And then my mentality with all of it is like, the first time is going to be the worst time, and it'll be the hardest time, and then I'll be better every single time after that. And then also I got to get, like, now that I've been running a lot, my cardio is really up. And my soccer team is going to face Jacob's soccer team in the winter.
Yeah, we found this out the other day when we were talking about podcast scheduling, and I was just like, oh, I can't do Thursday this day starting like November 16th. And Sarah's like, oh, is that because you're playing rec soccer? So if you like come at my ankle knowing that it's a little soft,
I would never do that.
2-foot me to the.
But I'm just like even then I'm like so stoked. I'm like, oh, I've been running so much. I'm gonna be so much better at soccer this year and stuff like that. Anyway, so just that's probably the biggest goal. Do you have any goals that you're still trying to like hit for the end of the year?
For this year, I don't think so. I think I'm in a period now of like, let me just rest.
I like that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm not chasing anything for the rest of the year.
Oh, I like that. I don't relate to that. I can't. I wish I could.
Oh, and that's totally fine. Yeah, I'm not saying that anyone else should do that. That's cool. I just feel like for me, that's where I'm at right now.
I still have like this itch to go on it. I've never traveled like truly solo, and I thought I'd get that fulfillment of a solo trip to my trip to Budapest for work, but I ended up becoming really good friends with my host. So I just did everything with her, which is a good thing. Like I made a friend, but I kind of thought I'd get that fulfillment of like exploring the city by myself. I've never really done that. So I still have this itch maybe to try and book something by the end of the year to just like go on a silly, goofy solo Sarah adventure, but we'll see.
Eat, pray, love.
Eat, pray. Well, maybe not that because Eat, pray, love. She does it like after a divorce. So.
Oh, not eat, pray, love. Just eat maybe like good food.
Yeah. So this kind of leads into the last question that we had.
Oh, this is a good one. Yeah. What's one province or Canadian city that you would like to visit but haven't been to?
I think I've talked about this before. I've never been to Vancouver.
Right.
Which is very off-brand. I feel like I am a preacher of traveling to Canadian city. Maybe that's where I should go on my little solo trip. I don't know anybody in Vancouver. I don't know anyone there.
When would you do it?
I don't know. When like, can I not do it in November? Is it cold?
It's nice.
Isn't it warm all the time? I don't know.
It's temperate, but it's not.
Temperate. Interesting. Okay,
why not though? Go and have an adventure.
Anyways, I've never been to Vancouver, which I feel like is just like off-brand
as
a whole. Yeah. Because I feel like I love traveling Canada. I like preaching about traveling to Canada, but yeah, I'm an East Coast girl.
Mine is similar. I've never been to. I've been to every province, but I've never been to Vancouver Island, which is one thing that I would love to go and check out. Tofino, Victoria, Nanaimo bars. Home in Nanaimo bars, notoriously
the sweet tooth
hoarder
coming through.
Here.
Yeah, exactly.
And because I've done all the provinces, now I feel like I have to do the territories as well.
Oh, so I would love to do the territories.
Those are like next on the list.
I have a friend that lived in Northwest Territories for like an entire summer. I think just tree planting or doing one of those things. And I was like, that's so cool. Yeah, I'd love to do I think I've done BC. I just haven't done Vancouver.
Yeah.
And I haven't been to Saskatchewan. So after that, it's what were you in Saskatchewan for?
Just driving through.
Oh, okay, you drove. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay. Speaking of travel, our last question of this voicemail segment is very fitting because you and I are both heading to New York City.
Yeah.
Same weekend. Are we going to hang out or avoid each other? We will see. But you were supposed to be running the New York City Marathon. I'm going for my friend's birthday / I have another friend that is running the New York City Marathon.
Yes.
So I'm going to go cheer Jade on.
How long are you going for again?
I'm going 4 days.
4 days. I'm just going Friday, Sunday.
Oh, you're just going to Friday, Sunday?
Yeah.
I'm just doing Friday to Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, Friday night to Monday. Friday, yeah. Well, like it was because of the marathon.
Is the itinerary set? Because this question is all about like.
So that's
tips.
That's why it's kind of exciting. So I'm excited to hear your tips because you're a big New York guy. You get tattoos in New York and stuff. I always end up doing the same things when I go. So I don't have an itinerary set yet. So why don't you? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna break up into like 3 things, like something to eat, something to do, and then just like something random to experience in New York.
Okay, yeah. What do you got?
Everyone talks about New York City pizza, and my favorite pizza in New York City is Bleecker Street Pizza in the West Village. It is around the corner from the Friends apartment. It is also across the street from Marie's Crisis and Via Carrata, which Via Carrata, Taylor Swift is often seen at with Sophie Turner. That whole area is really vibey, really cool. Bleecker Street Pizza is where I drunkenly end up every single time I'm in New York. I always burn the roof of my mouth because I get so excited
to
eat
grab
these
and
slices.
Go? It's like a slice?
But it's like, Jacob, I can't even explain the slices. Like they have this buffalo chicken pizza.
No, but that's what it is. It's not like sit down.
Well, like I get to sit. No, yeah, it's like grab a slice. But I sit down when I'm there. But
for sure,
I have these iconic. Every time I go there, I take these iconic photos of me with these massive slices the size of my head. Like, and they never turn out good. They never see the internet.
I miss those because I missed
day.
the King Slice by
oh
UTM
my God.
over here.
Oh my God!
Or Big Slice.
Big Slice. Rest in peace, Big Slice.
Big Slice was everything.
There was always literally the size of your
sketchy
face.
Happening in there.
I used to get free pizza at Big Slice because the guy that made the pizza liked me.
That is a Toronto.
It was incredible.
Score. But
anyways,
Bleecker Street Pizza is the one in New York?
is the one in the West Village because like a lot of the bars in the West Village and everything. But I literally will go out of my I'll be hanging out in the East Village and I will take an Uber to the West Village to Bleecker Street Pizza to end my night there.
Wow,
it's the best.
That's huge.
It's incredible. So Bleecker Street Pizza, but I'm also gonna give a special shout out to Whisk and Whiskey in Brooklyn. It's in Park Slope. And they actually just went through horrific flooding, so they have a GoFundMe set up.
Oh.
But I'm hoping that they're going to be open. I doubt it, but I'm really hoping they're going to be open by the time I get there at the end of the month because it's a women BIPOC-owned restaurant during the day. It's like a cafe. That's why it's called Whisk and Whiskey. So the one woman's a baker and the other one is a bartender, and they're best friends, and they open this restaurant together. So it's like a coffee. They have oat milk lattes on tap. Like it's a coffee shop during the day. And then at night it turns into a whiskey bar.
Okay,
but they also do brunch, and they have like really good snacky foods and stuff. And it's a really cool spot in Brooklyn. So Whisk and Whiskey. Shout out.
You need a reservation?
No. It's like very hole in the wall. Like
okay,
I know of it because my friend lives in the area. Like it's really cool. But honestly, it might be where I end up watching the marathon from, because it's a really cool spot. And they do brunch. They have drag brunch.
Okay. Oh, cool.
So what's your food? What's your food suggestion for New York?
It's this place. I think it's called Ruffian. I think that's how you say it. Some people say Ruffian, but
Ruffian?
It's just pronunciation. Yeah, it's in the East Village.
I think I've heard about that on Dumois.
So it's just around the corner from Tompkins Square Park, in a really cool location if you also want to do like a little bar hopping or something afterward.
Love the East Village for a bar hop.
It is like a little wine bar, and then they do a tasting menu, or you can just order off the menu. It is some of the best food that I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah, I went before a concert once, and they are just like, it's also kind of a really small spot, but the servers there are just so knowledgeable. If you like wine, like that's a spot to go, because they're just so
I'll note
good.
This down.
And the list is long as well. And it's not too expensive.
Is it small, or will it fit like a group of 10 girls that I'm going with?
Ooh, probably not 10. Yeah, I know.
So I got to cut some people.
Yeah. Unless they still have their patio open, they might be able to do a bigger long table, maybe. But it is so good. That was like, I think it's one of my top 3 meals that I've ever had.
Okay, next up is, what is an activity we would do in New York? What about you?
Ooh, okay. So for activity, you actually tipped me off to this one because you kind of said it at the beginning of this. I tried to get a tattoo here. It's just a walk in the 2 times ago when I went to New York. And then last time that I went to New York, Haley and I went, and they opened at like noon or something like that on the weekend. And we went immediately to get our names on like the walk-in list. And they were like, well, we actually just opened. None of the artists are even here yet. So you're going to be the first on the list. You can just probably stick around for the next 15 minutes until an artist each kind of shows up for you. And then they can do whatever you want. The artists are so good. The prices were super reasonable. I think they also market it as the oldest tattoo shop in New York City, which is cool. It's called Fun City Tattoo, also in the East Village. Also around the corner from Tompkins Square Park. If you want to make a day of it.
I've tried to get a tattoo in New York. I don't have any tattoos, and the only times I've tried to get tattoos is in New York. I've tried to do it 3 times, and every time it's like, we're like, it'll be meant to be, and then the list is always full. We're like, oh, guess we're not getting them.
I know. I would say go on opening and go to Fun City Tattoo, and like, they do an impeccable job. I think it's one of my favorite tattoos. I got a pylon. I think I might even talk about it on the show before. But got a pylon there, and he kind of just almost free-handed it and was just like, how much shading do you want? And I was like, oh, a little bit of this. And he just like went for it. And I looked at it and I was like, this is perfect.
That's cool.
So that would be my activity. If you're into tattoos, go and do that.
Maybe I'll go get a tattoo. I'm going to go to that, get a tattoo, and then I'll go to that wine bar. I'll just leave the whole group that I'm supposed to be hanging out with. My activity would be, if you've never been to New York especially, is to walk the High Line.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about the High Line really until like when I went a couple of years ago. And at that time during COVID, you had to like book a time to walk it, but you don't have to anymore. It's just a free, it used to be like a train track, and it is like above the city. It starts at Chelsea Market and it takes you all the way up to Hudson Yards. And it's just like, it's faster than just like walking that with like street lights, because you're like walking above the city. And also if you're like someone like me who loves like, apartments and like
looking into the apartments. I know, I love doing that because there's some like luxury apartments down there, and their windows are so close to the
and you
where
can
you're walking.
Look and like sneak and then like look how much the rent costs while you walk by, or like but also there's some beautiful gardens. They have like coffee shops. There's always people like I don't know, playing music and whatnot, and you can just stop, you can sit, you can just walk,
and you can go up and down at a few different spots. So like if you start at Chelsea Market, like grab a lemonade or something or some food at one of the stands,
and then you just walk along.
Go down, check out something else, go back up. It's cool.
It's really cool. The High Line is like one of the hidden gems of New York, in my opinion. And Taylor Swift sings about it, so it has to be good. Heartbeat on the High Line. Once in 20 minutes.
Little extra one, tag on if you're on the High Line too. Check out the Little Island, which is like that new island that they built on piers out by like some of the other piers on the west side.
Oh, really?
Super cool. It's got like a cool amphitheater, also a nice little park.
I haven't heard about that yet.
Yo, it's amazing. It just opened also. I think it opened right in the middle of the pandemic or just before it as well. It's cool.
Another note. Okay, and then one other bonus, if you have any other suggestions for things to do in New York.
A bonus one for me in New York City. Ooh, okay. What did I say?
Did you not write one, or is it?
No, I did, but I did. Okay, if you have to, if you're not a runner, you're not gonna like this one. But like, listen, if you haven't run Central Park, you're missing out. because
that's a really good tip. I really want to run in Central Park in the daytime, not at night.
In the daytime, yeah. Central Park is so huge, and I feel like every time I've gone to New York City, which is a bunch of times, I've gone to Central Park and kind of checked out a different part of it. So like we'll spend a day and like do a picnic down in like one area. The next time I'll go, I like checked out the Imagine Circle and that kind of stuff, and then did the boats another time. But like it's really tough to see a lot of the park if you're just walking, because it's huge.
True. Can't cover as much ground.
So if you're running, it's like a good opportunity to do it in the morning. One of my favorite activities I've ever done in the city is go out, run Central Park in like early morning, like 7 a.m.
Okay, I was like, how early are we talking? 7's reasonable.
6 would be even better. Like before people say it's the city that never sleeps, right?
No,
but like
sleep.
It's quiet at that time. So like the park isn't busy. You kind of feel like you're in a movie because there are just a few random characters walking around. It's, it's like a romantic time.
Romanticizing your run.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love that. Amazing. I might do that. If I'm not totally like against running after my half marathon, maybe I'll run in New York.
What about you, bonus?
I was just going to say my bonus is like, go to an area that you've never been to before. So every time I go, I try to explore an area I haven't seen before, because it's really easy to go and like fall into the routine of going to the same spot. So like either take a new recommendation from like one of us or explore a different neighborhood. I like 2 times ago I was there, I like really explored a lot of like the Upper West Side, which I'd never really been to before, which was really cool, because like the best part about New York, it's all these different pockets of places,
it's so
right?
big.
It's so big. There's so many different pockets. It's like Toronto. Like you can't say you've like been to Toronto and only been to like the CN Tower, right? Like there's so many different.
You've never been to the East Side.
Yeah, if you haven't been to the East End. So it's like there's the East End, there's West, there's like it's the same idea that there's so many different pockets, and I have the most fun when I experience different pockets in New York.
I agree. I like doing that too. If like setting a spot for dinner and then just deciding like let's bar hop a little bit after that. Let's just like check out places that are not on anyone's recommendation list and just stumble upon them.
And go into different boroughs. Go take the bridge and don't just walk the Brooklyn Bridge and go to Dumbo, because Dumbo isn't actually Brooklyn.
The one
it
like
is
photo
fake.
spot. Yeah.
Dumbo is fake Brooklyn. Go into Brooklyn and experience like, and I'm saying Brooklyn as if it's like, I haven't even been to other places really other than that, but like just go to different boroughs if you can. Like I think apparently Astoria's got like incredible food, and apparently like Queens,
amazing
like
architecture too, like the old brownstones that are
I just like hate when everyone's like, and they only go to Manhattan.
Yeah.
When it's like you're missing out on so much cool stuff. Like Park Slope and has like the incredible park there that the same guy that designed Central Park also designed that park, and he says that one's his more perfect one. So it's like you should run through that park.
True.
Anyways, there's just like other areas of New York New York is not just Manhattan, so make sure you go and explore other areas as well.
And don't go to Times Square. Not worth it.
Don't go. It's not worth it. I only had to go there a couple times ago because I had to buy shoes at H&M. It's the only reason, because my shoe broke.
And the Krispy Kreme store is never open.
No,
like their side window.
Really?
The side window never open.
Yeah, it's not
Huge
worth it.
Disappointment.
Thank you so much for listening to this voicemail episode of Talking Fast. As a reminder, if you want to leave us a voicemail, we don't take literal ones yet, but maybe one day we will. You can shoot us an email at talkingfastshow@gmail.com, or shoot Jacob a message, me a message. You can message us on the Talking Fast Show Instagram. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. We will be back next Wednesday. We'll see you then.